Being alone isn't necessarily a bad thing. In our current culture, especially in Western culture, it's kind of looked down upon to be by yourself. You're kind of expected to be the person always in the scene or on the scene, always with people, hanging out, having a lot of friends. And a person being by themselves is really seen as a negative thing. I myself have always been a people person since I was younger. I remember growing up as a kid, I was the guy who knew everybody. I knew everybody on the block. I knew a lot of people during school, especially in my early childhood. I was always hanging out with a lot of people, always around a lot of people. But now I'm in a space in my life in which I don't have any friends, really. I'm not really hanging out with people. I don't really have friends to call. And at one point, I was feeling very lonely because I was wondering, why is that? Why am I in this certain space or moment in life where I don't have much friends? But I noticed it started happening, me losing friends or being more to myself, is when I became very serious about where my life was going. At one point in time, I was always hanging around with people. If people invited me to something, I would always go. Oftentimes, I would always get a phone call from a friend who just wanted to talk just for the sake of talking. And I realized that at one point in my life, I was being extremely distracted. I didn't really have time to focus on myself. I didn't have time to meditate and really plan out where my life was going. In the moment I decided, okay, I want this for my life and I'm going to pursue this or be on this path, is when I really started losing friends and becoming by myself. Because one negative being around a lot of people is that they are very distracting. You know, people want to pull you in different places. They want to take you this place. They want to talk about things that don't really matter. And I found myself that I was unfocused, very unfocused. And then the moment I really started pursuing what I wanted to do in life is when these so-called friends were annoyed that I wasn't hanging around. I wasn't hanging out with them anymore. I wasn't just on the phone having conversations that weren't really edifying who I was or challenging me to grow as a person. And really, in spending time alone, I was given the opportunity to really learn who I was and really meditate and focus on what I want out of life. And instead of seeing your state of being alone as a bad thing, it's actually oftentimes a blessing in disguise, because people have a lot of issues. And usually when you're around a lot of people, their issues tend to overlap or influence you. And I realized I was being negatively influenced by a lot of my so-called friends. But it's really in those quiet moments in which you find a lot of growth, or those seasons of isolation where you're not lonely or, excluding yourself just because you don't like people, but more so you see it as a necessity because you need to focus. And since being alone most of my time recently, I've noticed a lot of growth, because I don't have just random voices in my ear telling me what I should do or what I should listen to or what I should believe in, telling me, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that. And because I was able to be removed from all the talk and voices, it gave me such a clarity that I never got compared to those times in which I was always with people, always on the scene, always trying to, hang out with friends and all that. And at one point I had to learn how to be comfortable within my own skin. I think a lot of people are insecure in the fact that they're not comfortable with being by themselves. They always need somebody to validate them. They always need some friend group to be around, to socialize with. And it robs you of the opportunity of discovering who you are and having a clear focus. And it also allowed me to understand that unique quality relationships and friendships, and not just hanging around people just because they're in the vicinity or just for the sake of doing it. I'm very intentional now with who I call friends, who I allow in my inner circle, in my inner space. And in those quiet moments of me being alone, learning where I'm going, it makes me more intentional about who's in my space. Because if you're around the wrong people, it can deter you off the path you're supposed to be on. And sometimes in life, you just outgrow people. You don't really have much in common. or you figure out the people that you were hanging around with weren't really going anywhere in life, and you actually growing more as an individual was looking bad on them. Or some people actually don't want you to grow. They want you to be in that same space you've always been in, because it just, people like, misery likes company, and people like to be with people on their level. And if you're not called to be on a certain level, but you're called to be a lot higher, as you continue to grow and progress, it's going to irritate the people you're around. And I believe that God separates you to give you an opportunity to learn about who you are and to grow. Because sometimes, and most of the time, being around a lot of people really hinders growth. So really, instead of being overwhelmed by being lonely, learn to be comfortable with being alone. There's nothing wrong about being alone. Of course, you're a human being, so you do need interaction, and you do need social groups and all that kind of stuff. But allow this season of loneliness or being alone to give you a chance to grow, discover yourself, and really focus on where you want to go and who you want to be. I can socialize with people, but oftentimes my social battery runs out and I can't wait to be by myself to recharge. But I've gotten such a clarity lately that I have never had in the beginning of my early years that I have now. And it also gives you an opportunity to just look around you and really contemplate and think and ponder, is this where I want my life to be? Is this the kind of people that I want with me on my journey? Give yourself the opportunity to really think, observe, and consider these things. Because I think it's very important to know who you are. And being around a lot of people, it may rob you of the opportunity to learn more about yourself. And in that process, you probably will discover things that you never thought was there. Definitely happened to me. So don't feel bad about your season of isolation. Use this opportunity, because seasons come and go. Some seasons you'll be around a lot of people, but other seasons you won't. But use this opportunity to grow and stop being so distracted by what other people want to do. Because if you have no focus or no plan for your life, other people will have plans for your life. And oftentimes those plans aren't the best for your destiny. If you guys enjoyed, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. It does help with the algorithm in promoting the channel. Leave a comment below. I'll be sure to respond to you. Let me know your thoughts about the subject. And if you're interested, you should see another video suggestion on screen. Click that video to watch more videos. And I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.